So, as we continue this conversation around this idea of God revealing Himself to us, one of the questions that we want to ask is, what is it about God's character that we can know? And the language we typically use to do that is that of attributes. Now, the attributes of God are those qualities that belong to God's essential nature. They're the reliable character patterns, if you will, that belong to God. And we attribute these to God based upon what we know from God's revealing of Himself. And so God would be completely unknowable if there weren't attributes that we could ascribe to Him. If there were no qualities that we could attribute to Him, He would be known only and only knowable to Himself. But because we can, and because we do know some things about Him, it should enliven our hearts and our minds to realize that the things that we do know about Him, we know because He wants us to. Now, also important to note here is that when we talk about God's attributes, we're not talking about His actions, not the things that He does, but who He is. And so if one of these attributes could be taken away from Him, He would not be God. And so these are the defining qualities of what makes Him God. Sometimes we look and we see a characteristic of God more clearly than at other times, but since He is in every way perfect, there is a perfect unity of the attributes. He is always perfect in, say, justice, and equally so, perfect in transcendence. He is always perfect in strength and always perfect in mercy. God is the perfect tension of all of His divine attributes all the time. This is such an interesting doctrine to me, not only because it's foundational to everything else that we believe, but because this topic is so deep. It's so complex that we will never figure it out. Philosophers, theologians, scientists have devoted thousands of years to this study. Some of the most brilliant minds to ever walk this earth have thought deeply about the attributes of God. There's a concept in leadership that says any problem can be solved with the right people in the room. Well, we've had the right people in this room we call Earth, and still, several millennia into this conversation, we are no closer to fully comprehending God's essential nature. This shows us the infinite depth of who He is. Another way of looking at it is called heightening. We previously mentioned using negation to define who God is, by clarifying who He is not. Heightening takes the opposite approach of that. It seeks to show how God is like the best that we can imagine. So think of it like a scale, where it's on 5 levels, and level 5 would be something that is lacking good altogether. Level 4 would be something known to be lacking in some good, where level 3 would be known to be something good. Level 2 would be the best that we know. But beyond that, there is level 1, which is something that would be better than the best that we know. So each level is better than the last, and it's at level 1 that Christianity has classically understood God's attributes. We can identify the best things that we know of. But beyond that, beyond our reach, beyond our understanding, God's attributes extend to a whole other level. God belongs in the highest category in this scale. But as we continue this conversation around the doctrine of God and trying to wrestle with who God is, it's just amazing to me to think that the more we understand about God, the more we understand how much more there is to understand about God. Thanks for watching. I would love your help building up the TCB community, so please share my videos like this one on your social media platforms, and be sure to sign up for our email list for more great content.